So this question, what is the purpose of life? Do you feel you're expressing it right here, right now? Or do you see it as something potential, something you're aspiring towards?
Just up on the Apple Cross, otherwise known as Billach na Bar, way up in the Scottish Highlands, absolutely fantastic.
And I thought about this so much during my time of long hermitry during the pandemic. Is this it? Is this where I want my life to be? What does purpose mean to me at this point in my life?
I always have a sense of the sort of different ways that life can speak to you, and it's sort of on days like today and the storms and the wild that you just feel something totally different. And after the isolation the last couple of years, just really something to feel the wind on your face again.
I also became somehow troubled by the idea of purpose itself, in that it's always future orientated, it's always goal bound, it's always about a sense of becoming. And my question was, what about now? What is life to me now? How can I live deeper and go further into this moment of experience wherever I am in life?
As you can see, the view is wonderful. You can see out into infinity. And yeah, it's pretty special. Obviously not the best day to be doing it, but quite fascinating in winter. You have the road going both ways, and it's just totally one way. So there's no crossing point between two cars, but there are crossing points. And it's really something to experience on a day like today. Absolutely like life affirming. So yeah, Donna smashing it in the background as usual.
So my thinking about purpose wanted me to break out of this forever future orientated, progress obsessed Western construct and way of looking at the world. Not that I have a particular problem with any of these things. These things actually really excite me. But what is life itself? What is happening in my heart when it beats deeper? What makes my blood pulse and move faster around my body? You know, what is that state of exhilaration potential in all of us?
Where I am, it's hard to say. Live my life in many ways. In my head, was I dead before? Broken by an inner wall, it reveals my spirit's core. Every fall I'm grateful for today. Beyond the fire, beyond the rain, I face my future again.
You know, you go through so many things within the silence, and at some point it does become a type of meditation. And within that meditation, it starts speaking to you, and you hear your voice. And you hear that your voice is participant in a much wider tapestry or poem or song. And it's within that song that you feel the resonance and the meaning behind the experience that we're having.
How do we say? How do we experience that life affirmation? Well, we know we are right in the heart of life. That was the thing that I wanted to aspire to. That was the thing that I wanted to go after. And though I valued this sense of hermitry during the pandemic so deeply, it led to these questions. And I think in many ways during the pandemic, it was about experiencing being itself. How do we get to some type of merging between being and doing? And I think so often in the Western world, we're tormented by this need to do. You know, all good life advice, be specific, have an aim, move towards something. But there's this idea in the West that that's the whole thing. And I was like, no, there are times in my life when I've just been on the threshold of a moment where all things dissolve away, where I experience something so beyond these things.
You know, there are just some moments in your life where you just feel like you touch upon the mystery, or you just feel the power and the energy of nature. It's like you feel its heartbeat, and
and how it's moving and its rhythm, and where we came from and what we're part of, and that somehow it's okay wherever you are, whatever you feel, whatever dimension you find yourself in. And it feels so healing, and just to recognize it as pure mystery, to recognize your own being as pure mystery, that we are just within it and part and sharing, we're indivisible from it. And it's like when you touch upon it, those moments, it's like your understanding of life goes into a whole other place, a whole other dimension. So I just feel like this gratitude, this inexpressible gratitude. I never should have tried to share it before, those moments. Thank you for being with me within that isolation.
No, sometimes you can experience a whole state of being that is in such a deeper understanding and feeling of the universe and the forces and the cosmology and the way of things, understanding of things, that it dissolves aim. It dissolves this future orientated nature of things, and it brings us into a present where a potential exists that is absolutely unfathomable, and where we really start knitting together whatever damn fabric is in the world. And this is the type of stuff that really kind of got my blood going and kind of led me to going out into the world again to seek that yay-saying inner nature, that pulse of being, that heartbeat in the very essence of life. What is it? Where is it? How is it? That is a purpose that I aspire to.
Sometimes we just don't know the way forward in our lives. What version of ourselves are we? Are we dominated by yesterday? Are we fragmented and unpresent today? Are we living in a dream of tomorrow we don't quite believe we can ever get to? Perhaps amongst it all there is only one modern truth, that we are just too damn hard on ourselves. And yet, there is also that which we forget, that each of us has an immeasurable power in us, that our potential is always available.
One of my discoveries through this project and since the pandemic is just on this question of the nature of purpose. And I find that the more I do things that don't seem to have any particular purpose in life, the more purpose I seem to find. And it's a strange thing that sort of brings a new sense of liberation, a new sense of wanting to discover things. I think that perhaps in the modern world we're often trying to get something out of something or someone or something we do. There's always this sense of trajectory and purpose and point to everything.
I haven't dreamed my last, and I will dream again. I haven't dreamed my last.
For me, this is a real liberation. Just simply because it let my thoughts go into a new space.
And that sometimes to arrive in the heart of life means first forgiving ourselves a little. Finally, you realize that you are inseparable from your purpose. The question is, are you willing to listen to it?
To contemplate small things, or occasionally even to contemplate nothing at all, which I find particularly wonderful. So at the moment, just trying to get up to the snow line once again. Managed to set off a little bit late, so just going as far as it wants me to go.
This capacity to feel alive in the moment utterly, that is one of my highest values and aspirational experiences. It's a very difficult idea, this idea of the heart of the world. And yet I think we all know what it is. When we wake up, we know in our hearts, are we feeling somehow within the heart of the world, or are we feeling fragmented outside of it? And the other times you have that moment, that thing, I'm within the pulse, I'm within the heartbeat of life. It's around me, it's within me. I think for a lot of us nowadays, especially with the sense of distraction, of being sort of tormented by our minds being all over the place, and this sort of multitasking modern sensibility that leads to a sort of shipwreck type of mind or focus or orientation. We know when we're within life in our deepest ways, and perhaps part of the reason there is so much unhappiness in the world is also because we cannot do the things that allow us to really move towards it. We blockade ourselves. And why? That's the question we have to tackle. Are we willing to really do the things and go after the things that we love and make our heart race to get into that vortex of being where things just roll hard?
Hey, what are you doing? Hey, get out of there! Hey, get out of there! Hey, no. Just bumped into this incredible, how do you say it, flock. Just a surprising blessing of the morning to come across Muhammad and his wonderful flock of goats.